Thumbs up again. Zell, not bad for a depleted 23.
Mate, I don't think it's actually. I don't think it's actually possible to pick a bad Bok team. If you just look at this squad, I mean, if you take any combination of these players, it is a quality side, and especially so when you're playing whoever they could conscript into that Welsh side from who knows where, mate. Most interesting selection is the choice of a loose forward at number 12.
Wait! I think the poor Welsh folks, they announced their squad last night. 13 changes to the 23, all enforced because it's outside the international window. And by Friday, you may find there's another 10 changes because the Oaks have just seen the Bok 23. They thought that 23 of them had gone home already, most of them to Japan. They didn't realize who was staying behind. You could call this an
it's a hell of a
ambush.
team. Mate, when you read that the bench, the Wales bench, you think it's the credits for one of the Lord of the Rings movies, mate. Never heard of these guys.
I've heard of Frodo.
Great scrummager.
Mate, let's go through this thing. Not too shabby. Damian Willemse, World Cup winner. Ethan Hooker, breakthrough player. Damien Delaney, the best, but he's playing at 13. He's normally 12. Andre Esterhuizen, the giant. The giant. He's at 12. He'll end up probably on the flank. Kane Moody's been a star all season. The player of the year for many, Sasha Feinberg, Ngoma Zulu, and then Krappies van der Berg, Morne van der Berg is in at 9. You give me the pack.
Mate, have a look at number 8. Jasper Wiese somehow is allowed to play in this game, despite being contracted in Japan. He's available. Franco Mostert, another Japanese League One player who's playing. And then we've got Captain Fantastic at open side. We've got Ruan Nokia at 5 lock. We've got Jean Klein at 4. The irrepressible Wilco Low at tight end prop, mate. Kromies gets another go at hooker. And then Gerard Steenekamp back to start, mate. And then you talk us through. I mean, you almost feel some pity for Wales. Then Rassie deploys the bomb squad, a 7-1 bench, the nuke squad. Wow.
I would have liked an 8-0 just for history-making purposes, or I would have liked one with a starting, maybe 13 to start and 10 on the bench. That would have been great. So kind of introduce our 10 a little bit later.
Mate, you've got 16 forwards in this match day 23. If you take Andre Estes and they're at 12, and then the rest of those blokes, 7 on the bench and 8 starting.
You have. I mean, it's an incredible show of the quality of South African forwards at the moment. And then you think who's not there. So let's go to that. Oxenchair is not there. Malcolm Marx is not there. Thomas du Toit is not there. That would be your starting front rowers. Lut de Jager is not there. Cameron Honeycomb's injured. Ulrich Lowe is on his way back. Evan Rus is playing. Evan Rus, I got to get him in. He's playing in Limerick on Saturday night. You just look at that quality of that pack and a few others as well. If you think of Trevor Hanyankani, he's still around. Vincent Koch, they're not there. You could put, that's just the forwards. And you look at the backs, there's no Grant Williams. There's no Andre Pollard. There's no Jesse Creel. There's no Cheslin Colby. No Fussy. No Willie Leroux. No Edward van der Merwe. I mean, there's a 15 that they did send home. And they picked 23 with...
Glorious.
With 23, and the great thing for me, Zels, is 8 of those starting 15 are World Cup winners and 7 aren't. Yet you don't blink that they're in that starting lineup. Such has been their form in the last 18 months. And that shows how incredible this transition has been from who won the last World Cup into who's going to go to the next World Cup. So we know Willemse's pedigree. If you look on the one win, Ethan Hooker wasn't at the World Cup. Andre Esterhuizen was a bit player at the World Cup. He's now coming to the forwards, a hybrid player. Sasha wasn't there. Krappies wasn't there. Then you go into Ruan Nokia wasn't there. Then you look at what's on the bench. A lot of those players weren't there. But you look at that side and you think 23 World Cup winners, but they're not. Only 4 of the starting 15 started in the 2023 World Cup final. And that, to me, has been the most tremendous success of how he's evolved the squad, Rassie, over the last 2 seasons. One, if they win on Saturday, which they should and win convincingly, they'll have an 86% win record for the season. They would have lost 2 out of 14,
Insane.
and they would have won 13 out of 15 if you include the thumping of the Barbars 54-7 in Cape Town to start the season. And they lost just the 2 last season by a point each. That's the consistency of being the world's best that Rassie always spoke about. That puts you in the standard of those great New Zealand teams, the McCall and Carter era, where they won 88% of their games over a period of 6 or 7 years. This Bok team in terms of consistency is right there now, but this Bok team in terms of quality has surpassed that, because not even that side had 38, 40 players that they could put into any test match and come out with a victory.
Yeah, no, and I think it also sort of exposes Rassie's hand in terms of his plan for the next World Cup. I've been agonizing for a couple of seasons now, how are we going to transition from this old guard to the new guard, but Rassie's just going to get around that. Instead of reinventing his team from scratch and giving youngsters tons of experience, he's going to draft youngsters in, it seems like, but he's going to keep all of the old guard. And what he's going to do is just going to have a squad of 60 players. It doesn't matter that they're in their 30s, because as soon as a 35-year-old double World Cup champion breaks, there's 2 guys on standby in South Africa to jet in. They know the game, they've played recently, and they're on form and ready to play. The average age of the starting lineup is 29. The bench is 30, so it's not a young team. But like I've just said, we've created so much depth in experience as well, that injuries are not the threat that they would be to any other side. You spoke about the fact that we have sent home basically a starting 15. Isn't it time that Rassie plays his next trump card, which is to have South Africa play 2 tests on one weekend? Let's have one team play somebody and another team play somebody else. Maximum commercial return on that.
Well, he would say that it happens behind closed doors every week. There's a test match between the best team in the world. That's
In training.
that's the 15 he picks. And the second best team is the 15 he doesn't pick. And that's the
Yeah.
quality of these Boks at the moment. And yes, let's laud it. Let's appreciate it, because I remember a time, and I'm going to Cardiff on later this afternoon. But I remember a time not so long ago, it was 2017, 2018, that we were getting pumped in Cardiff by Wales. 2017, when we lost 27-13, the headline was, will the real Springboks please come back? We weren't picking any overseas-based players. Rassie went there in 2018 in his first season with a very decent set of players and got hammered in the last game of the year. They lost their first one against Wales in Washington, D.C. They lost their last one. He and Jacques were 7 from 14 in their first season. They culled 60% of that squad. They kept the 40 they wanted and worked in the rest. And as we say, the rest has been history. It's 2 World Cup wins back-to-back. It's the 24-25 Castle Rugby Championship back-to-back. It's the British and Irish Lions series during COVID, where they'd had 40 minutes of rugby and hadn't played for a year. And they came out miraculously, went 1-0 down in Cape Town, came back and won it 2-1 the series. Morné Steyn doing in 2021 what he did in 2009, killing every British and Irish Lions spirit and crushing most of their media who still haven't recovered from that series. And that happened in front of the whole world, but no one at the stadium. So I'm going to Cardiff later this afternoon. I'll be on a train from Richmond down to Cardiff via Reading. If you see me, do wave. Because if you're watching this, I will already be in Cardiff, so you wouldn't have waved. And I'm looking forward to festivities. I'm looking forward to a confident Springbok team going to the Principality Stadium and knowing that they are invincible.
Now, Manny, I know that you're obviously in England. You're in Richmond for the launch of the EPCR this week. But before we get to that, people have wanted to know, why are we playing this test outside the window? I feel like you have a better understanding of exactly the reason for that.
Yes, I spoke to the team and they want to get a 66-3 win against Wales. No,
Makes sense.
I did speak to Mark Alexander yesterday. It's a test match that has been in place since 2017. Contractually, it was agreed on way back then, before these international windows were dropped also from 4 weeks to 3 weeks. Back then, everyone was going to be available to play. It was going to be a big cash day for the Welsh Rugby Union. And as Eddie Jones says, they need the cash and also a benefit to South African rugby as well. What's transpired, obviously, is that we're not in 2017. We're now in 2025. And let's be honest, in 2017, people were burning the Bok jersey. We were ranked 7th in the world. We would have accepted any game at the Principality to make money. So,
mate, Wales were wiping the floor with us.
Wales were in the top three of the world and we were out of the top six. So things were very different back then. What happened was that South Africa tried to get the game moved and tried to get Wales to play this game as that warm up when they played Japan, and Wales refused to budge. They wanted that game now, and obviously felt that they were going to be a lot better. Maybe the Boks would be depleted as well, and it'd be quite a good game. What I think the Welsh Rugby Union underestimated, like they have with so much, is the quality of this Boks setup, that we don't just have 15 or 23 players. We now do have 40 plus players who can start a test and finish a test at any given time. So there wasn't madness from SA Rugby to agree to this game 8 years ago. There was a good commercial sense about it. They did try to get it changed. It is going to happen. And so I think if you're a South African supporter, embrace it as if you get one last chance for 2025 to watch Siya Kolisi, magnificent Rainbow Warriors. Rassie Erasmus has built the most incredible national squad of depth, experience, and youth. And at one of the game's great stadiums, Wales may be in a state at the moment, but the Principality Stadium, formerly the Millennium, is one of the most wonderful spectator experiences to attend. And we know that Wales will win the singing contest. They may even win the contest for a nicer jersey. But once those up and unders go, you know what's going to happen. And we do know they will keep their side of the field very, very tidy.
So, wait, they're going to be invisible.
They will be invisible and we will be invincible. But I'm looking forward to being treated well by the Welsh locals, fed lots of beer, getting lots of smiles, being embraced because I'll be wearing green and gold. And when you arrive in Cardiff this weekend wearing green and gold, you arrive as a champion.
Yeah, look, I'm looking greatly forward to this match, mate. I think it's a great flush out after an awesome season. I think the boys will have some fun with it, and I think the beers will go down well after, and then back to South Africa. I think massive credit to the people at the top. You don't have to go too far back when the Super Rugby franchises were basically at war with SA Rugby and everything was contentious. The fact that everybody's pulling in the same direction, that Rassie's able to have these players released for this game, and that the unions get something out of it, I think is a fantastic feather in the cap of the leadership. So South Africa, the entire country pulling in the same direction, I think is brilliant for our game.
Yeah, and for those players who play in the URC and would ordinarily potentially have gone to play this weekend in the single round before the Investec Champions Cup starts next weekend. Those players, SA Rugby has paid, I think it's 235,000 Rand or 285,000 Rand per player to the club for their services, which is not a bad deal. You take someone like Zach Porthen at the Stormers, just to have him in Cardiff, you're covering quite a bit of a young man's contract there by just giving him by the club getting that kind of money. But it also shows there is good synergy between the club coaches and Rassie. The national cause has been put first, and again, the way he dealt with the Japanese club. So some have gone back, some have stayed. It's just we're in a good place, and I keep on saying that to people. Cycles do end, things do change. We don't need the benefit of hindsight to say, oh, because New Zealand's going through that. They got so spoilt at one stage, they thought it would never end, the McCall-Carter era. And it ended very abruptly because 10 of those guys went at the same time. Why that won't happen to us is because already 10 have gone. And at times we don't even realize it. You know, you think Willie Leroux may never play again, but he still may play next year. But you don't think, what now? Handré Pollard, if he never played again, you'd think Sasha and Mani are there, and maybe one or two other youngsters come through. But he's only 31. He should play again. We don't have that fear, and that is a credit to the genius of Rassie Erasmus' selection, his squad identification, and specific to each position. And like we say, the one area that we felt we were light on was 9, and then he reinvents a 35-year-old. Cobus Ryan, who's playing the best rugby of his life. Grant Williams comes to the fore. The challenge to Hendrickson, to Faffies, it's not over. You can come back. Krappies is still in the mix at 9. We've got some good under-21s coming through. And then at hooker, Grobbies has come through on this. But he hasn't kicked Bongi out. He brought him in for this test, back into the squad for the last 10 days. fires that gets that fire going in the belly, and hopefully we will see the Bongi of 2 years ago play for the Sharks in the Investec Champions Cup and in the URC, and put himself in line to be one of the three hookers for the greatest rivalry series and the Nations Championship next season. So you look, Oxenchair gets injured. There's a 20-year-old that's on the bench that started a test, Zach Porthen. Thomas Tatoy goes, Walker Lowe steps in. It's just Klabakani's there. You just think of both Lucid, both tight head, those who can swing. It's everything is there, but he's not kicking away the old guys. Jean Klein's back in the mix. He's starting. The Stormers are grateful because he's not going to Limerick this weekend, so he won't be there. So yeah, I'm euphoric at how it's been done, Zels,
Yeah.
and again applauded. And there's not a lot of love for Rassie over here because of his success. There's a grudging respect for the Boks. The kind of indifference towards the Boks is what I experienced when the All Blacks were on top of their game. It's because we're the best, we're not particularly well liked to, because everyone aspires to be us, but it's not good enough to be us at the moment. So there is no arrogance coming from within that Springbok setup. There's just absolute confidence, and that's all we've called for the best part of how many years, is when a Bok team is good. Don't be embarrassed or shy to admit it. Put your foot on their throat and suffocate them. We spoke about that game when they lost to the All Blacks at Ellis Park, and it was after Nelspruit's hammering of them. We were like feeling sorry for them when they came back and beat us. They never felt sorry for
Exactly.
us by 57 twice. England didn't feel sorry for us when it was 53-3. Wales certainly didn't feel sorry for us when Gatland's team was pumping us. And Ireland let the world know they were beating us. So it's only fair that we let the world know right now we're beating all of you, and we can beat you with 2 or 3 different teams. And I think that's just great for our rugby. And if you're in the moment, enjoy it and celebrate it.
Yeah, you mentioned those front row forwards on the bench, mate. I think maybe in terms of the value to South African rugby, there's a lot there. Zach Porthen's getting a run at Lucid, it looks like. He's in the 17 jersey behind Cardiff Cup this weekend. So it'll be interesting to see him go. Great athlete. If he can get out of that scrum and get around the park, he's going to cause some damage. And then in Tlabakanya, we're all rooting for Feast Mode to get back and clear his name in this case. And hopefully his career is not interrupted. There's 2 young guys, 2 prospects with a massive, massive ceiling behind a whole host of guys you've already just mentioned. So there is some constructive value to this test match as well in terms of what we can get out of it. Like you said, Bongi, we want to get him back to full speed, and he'll want to put in a good performance because Marnus van der Merwe is obviously also a guy who's in contention there for next season. So a lot to play for.
No, it's so much to play for, but also what this does allow, this test that no one really wanted that is happening, is it allows a kind of conclusion to an incredible season where the Boks are the number 1 team in the world. They've got the Player of the Year award, and they should have had the Coach of the Year award. Since 2019, when Rassie was the golden boy after winning the World Cup, and he was named World Coach of the Year, he hasn't been given it since. Jacques Nienaber in 2023, when the Boks won it, they gave it to Andy Farrell for his Six Nations effort of the year before, even though his team went out in the quarterfinals. And Nick Mallett, who was on the judging panel, resigned because of that in disgust. John Mitchell won a World Cup with an England team that hasn't lost in 36 matches over the last 5 years. So well done for winning the World Cup. But I think you and I could have been in charge of that team and taken them through to a final. So when you look at what a coach has done, a player has done, what a team has done, and it's got to be something remarkable. And what Rassie has done in this last 2 seasons has been remarkable. And there's no doubt in anyone's mind, he is the best coach in the world. He's the best test and international coach. It just makes a mockery of the whole voting process, but it just embarrasses those people at World Rugby who continue to show their bias, and also just to show their insecurity and their displeasure that a Springbok coach can be so successful, can be so controversial, and can also just always give you the thumbs up, man. Rassie and me to World Rugby. So what's that?
Also, mate, I can't believe they still haven't learned it. The worst thing that you could do to the Boks is make them victims. The best thing you can do is shower them with accolades and say they're the best in the world and they should be expected to win in every game. And World Rugby just keeps on fueling what drives South Africa's sort of rugby mindset. So it's brilliant.
Long may it last. Right?
Exactly.
2031 at least. Because if we can go 3, then we can go 4. That would be incredible, eh? If we are talking in 8 years' time,
Let's just
Zal,
win three first, mate,
we're
please.
talking in 8 years' time of, do you think we can do five in a row?
Eventually, we're going to just bring Rassie out with his head in a
Yeah.
glass jar, mate. There'll be nothing left of him.
And then there will be a new global 10 circuit, and the coach of the Panthers in Delhi will be get coach of the year for what he's done to just put 10 players together. Forget that guy at the Springboks, and he's winning everything. So to Rassie Rasmus, I hope that Rassie also manages to get a little bit of relaxation pre this test match. I know they won't underestimate Wales in the sense of this test is about the Springboks and being true to the occasion, being true to their qualities, and being true to putting a fine polish and a fine finish on an incredible year that started with a 54-7 win against the Barbarians in Cape Town and should finish with a similar kind of result against Wales at Cardiff. We will wrap that up on Monday. It will also be on Zoom because I'll be back in Johannesburg. But next Thursday, we're back in the studio where Zels can cuddle me and I can cuddle him. There is some URC stuff, Zels. Your team's getting Limerick at the moment. Stormers against Munster, top of the table clash. It's going to be a toughie. The big one, Bulls at home against the Lions, and the Sharks in Connacht, or Connacht, depending on where you come from. And they've got Grant Williams
Yeah.
there and Edward van der Merwe there. They've been released to that game. South African perspective, you just want the Bulls to go on and continue their upward curve, although the Lions look good in their last game. But massive, massive game. Stormers have never won at Thornton Park. They came close a couple of seasons ago. Evan Roos denied a try that everyone thought should be. The Bulls showed you can win there. It's tough, but it's a great stadium, 30,000 people. It's the closest you will get to terms of the mentality of, say, a Stormers crowd is the one in Limerick at Thornton Park. But the boys are up for it. I know you've done your analysis. It's just going to be a crack of a game.
Yeah, no, absolutely huge. I mean, you've laid it all out there. Hugely physical team, Munster. Stormers unbeaten, top of the log with them and playing in their backyard. Going to be a massive challenge coming off this end of year tour for the Boks and for the Irish players. So very, very keen to see how it goes. Obviously, these two teams have done battle a few times over the years, and it's generally been a juicy contest. But in the other two South African matches, still lots to play for. The Lions could potentially overtake the Bulls, I think, on the standings with the win there. Obviously, we want the Bulls to keep chugging up the standings, keep the South African teams at the top. And then you want to see the Sharks make some sort of a recovery. If they can be Connacht away, which is always tricky to do over there. But if they can sort of get their campaign back on track, that'd obviously also be great. So we can't have a 4 from 4 this week, but let's hope for at least 3.
A 3 from 3 or a 2 from 3 and a draw. But we won't go there. Okay, that wouldn't be good for our league positionings. Vodacom URC, you can catch all the action on SA Rugby magazines, socials, on their digital platforms, on our WhatsApp channels. If you want to know where the leanings are towards the insights that myself and Zels give, Africa picks, we'll be putting our predictions there. We know Zels is always going to go with the Stormers, as do I. But there are some nuances around where you put your money at africapicks.com. And remember, we said the Boks to beat France. France are good. Boks are great. We said put your money there. We said the Boks with Sasha at the 4 and the power pack to crush Ireland. If you had listened to us, you'd be a few cents wiser today. So go to Africa Picks there. The big thing, the reason I'm in London, and I've had a wonderful last 2 days. It's been hectic. It's been busy. It was the launch of the Investec Champions Cup. 24 teams playing in the greatest club competition in the world. They had 24 representatives. I went through about 18 one-on-one interviews yesterday, Zels, over a period of 4 hours. It was just wonderful. We're going to talk in detail next Monday and next Thursday about it, where we kind of look at all 24 teams. We look at the 3 South African teams that are competing. But what I did get again was a sense of just how big this competition is to the players who historically know it for the 31-year history, who have played in it for the best part of 2 to 10 years. It's the star that they want. At times we've laughed at an Andrew Porter saying, I'm chasing the 5th star. This is massive. And when a South African team gets their 1st star, it's going to be a bit like in Super Rugby. When the Bulls won for the first time, we then going to realize the enormity of this competition. It was great to hear them speak so positively. The independent panels that included a Lawrence Dallaglio, Chris Robshaw, they're both former England captains, and John Barkley from Scotland. John Barkley, particularly fond of what he sees with the Bull squad. 20 Springboks in that initial squad that Johan Ackerman has picked. Lawrence Delalio likes the look of the Stormers, but then he says he loves Cape Town. He loves South Africa. And then Chris Robshaw's also said he just wants to know why the Sharks haven't performed with squads like that. So healthy respect. They love what the Springboks are doing, but they said at a club level, it's not going to be if, it's going to be when the South African teams come through and actually do get that first star. But chatting to players for what we know is like lesser known clubs like Section Power, it's taken them 25 years to get back into the Champions Cup, what it means to those players. And then the massive one, and I think we can't overstate this to the South African rugby public. The Bulls, one of the teams that we're looking at to go really far in this competition and also have the potential of winning the Vodacom United Rugby Championship. They host Bordeaux. Last season's champions, Bordeaux, for the first time in their history, won the competition. Incredible semi-final win against Toulouse, and then beating Northampton 28-20 in the final. Northampton, who had beaten people thought you don't go to the Viva and beat Leinster. They did in the most incredible semi-final. They are going to be in Pretoria, and they are loaded with French internationals. They're loaded with quality players, and it's going to be a cracker. And Loftus should already be sold out for that game. We know that the Champions Cup at times hasn't ignited with the South African public, but to know that the quality of that side, the champions of Europe, the best club team in the world, Bordeaux, are going to be in Pretoria next Saturday. Wow, we're going to chat a lot about that next week, Zels. And again, just being here, how incredible the passion is for the competition, the history that it's steeped in, how big it is. It goes to 26 broadcasters globally. At the finals weekend in Cardiff last season, they got 40,000 at the Friday night game and 72,000 at the final. Close to 115,000 paid spent.
That's amazing.
At the ground, and millions, hundreds of millions, like on television, that watch that final. And there was an interesting quote from the Bordeaux president who said it was their first time in a final, their first time to win it. And then he realized this isn't a domestic final. This is an international final, because people are coming to the grounds wearing the colors of their clubs. One of the 24, each one of the 24 somehow was represented in the stands. He said he was getting messages from the president of France, from other countries, to say well done to Bordeaux. And he felt that winning final put Bordeaux on the global map, more so than winning a top 14 or being successful in their domestic competition. So we have the URC. It's a great competition. We have the Prem in England, and we have the top 14. But this is the culmination of all three, 8, 8, and 8. The top 8 from the previous season go into the Champions Cup. And we get to play those first 2 rounds in the first fortnight of December. And then we go back again in January. And then it's last 16, last 8, and then into the semi-finals and finals in May. So it's been an incredible 2 days here for me, mate. I've missed you. We had our own to do all our interviews. Hopefully, I've sent through the picture, the Borthwick room. People said Keo and Zels. I couldn't find a burger was doubling as you. He said a bit better looking, but not quite as charismatic. And you can't have Sunny. You can't have Sunny and Sher without Sunny. Mate. So this is the last time you skip a trip to London, okay? When we've got to come over and do some work. Champions Cup for you, mate. You share my enthusiasm.
Oh, mate. No, I absolutely do, mate. So the Champions Cup, I mean, we are so used to our sort of domestic rugby history, right? From the Currie Cup to Super Rugby, we've just got our teeth into the URC, and we're very much used to they run chronologically. So you run from week 1 to the end. You can plan very much around it. You know which sections of the competition you're going to tackle, so on and so forth. But the Champions Cup is a whole different gravy, mate, because there's massive breaks between when you play. The whole landscape changes in that time, and year to year, who you play against changes, obviously, as well. And I think the fact that you can have a team like the Crusaders run to multiple titles in a row in Super Rugby, Leinster's dominance of what was before the URC also stands out. Top 14, you have those French teams that go on a run from Stade Francais to Racing to Toulouse, Toulon. But Champions Cup, mate, to win multiple Champions Cups in a row is close to impossible, just because of the variables in the competition. And I think that highlights just what a tight rope you have to walk. It's almost like winning the lottery back to back. I mean, it's just insane how difficult it is to put it all together in a season to be the best club team on the planet. So I think from that perspective, from the probability of success perspective, the Champions Cup has to be the toughest comp in the world.
All right, Zels, and it's into its 31st year. We know we've had plenty of South Africans who have played for overseas teams over that 30-year history. Bucky's Buerta and Brian Abana, they were voted as the best four-lock and winner by the fans when they celebrated the 30th, the dream team after 30 years. We know the Toulon side that won 3 in a row, had 7 South Africans in it. It's led by Joe van Niekerk initially, and then obviously the big guns, Bucky's, John Smith, Brian Abana, Donnie Rousseau. I think Craig Burden was there, Michael Claessens was there. There were just some great South Africans that went there, and part of that history. Saracens the same. They've won 3. La Rochelle's had that sprinkling of South Africans when they went back to back. So there's just so much that we're going to be talking about over the next 5 months when it comes to this competition. One thing I have to talk about, though, Zels, I know you've got 35 degrees in Cape Town. It's 2 degrees here in London. I'm in Teddington, by the way. It's just around the corner from Richmond. I'm on my way to Richmond. But where it was really hot was in India. The cricketers, Temba Bavuma, Shukri Conrad. We are a rugby show, but we're sporting mad as well. Let's start talking about them like in sporting terms, like South Africans talk about Rassie, Erasmus, and Siya Kolisi. It's now 12 test matches, 11 wins, 1 draw for Temba since he's been captain. No South African captain's ever had that success. First winning 25 years in India. Pakistan, they won a test for the first time in nearly 2 decades. They won the World Test Championship. We're on fire there. Bafana is going to AFCON as one of the favorites. They're going to the World Cup, FIFA World Cup, and the Springboks are top of the world. I mean, Castle Lager's been there 130 years. Taste that stood the test of time. 130,000 rand you can win from the legacy cans if you get them. But they've been associated with 3 of our nation's biggest sporting codes, and they're all sitting in their own right on top of the world at the moment. So it's a great time to be a South African sports fan. It's a great time to look after the Boks. We did that collaboration, the Collector Box. Ben van Rensburg, the young 10-year-old, he collected everything except the Rassie gold card. He got his gift finally. Hopefully you'll see a picture of him now with his album that was completed. We got so many people interacting with us. The passion there was around just collecting cards for their favorite Springboks. We sent him a lovely hamper, SA Rugby magazines. We sent him Mike Greenway's book, back-to-back World Cup wins. I sent him the Chosen 23 and various other goodies. So he was very happy to get that. I'm on top of the world, Zels. I can see you on top of the world. Mackenzie, she had a birthday. She's going into her teens. Everything's happening in Cape Town. It's fun, mate. Are you missing me?
Oh, mate, we're missing you big time, mate. But I am enjoying looking at how toasty you are in that Keo Zels jacket, mate. I can see your face has got a little bit more color in it from when we started the show. If there was a thermometer, mate, I think you're close to the 40s there.
It is, mate, and you can't blame the chorizo sausage on that, huh? Because the thing about being here is you go outside and you've got to layer it up, and then the moment you come inside, it's like it's 35 degrees because of all the heat in that. So it's you actually want to go outside and go for a nice brisk walk. But it's lovely being here. Always going to be excited to get back home to Cape Town. But such an incredible season coming up for us in the URC and also in the Investec Champions Cup. And let's not forget the EPCR Challenge Cup, because the Lions and the Cheetahs do play in that. The Cheetahs base themselves in Amsterdam. And maybe that's something for me and you to consider, Zels, is a little weekend in Amsterdam, wearing our orange and supporting the Cheetahs. I'm just putting it out there to the EPCR and to Francis and to Toyota.
Hint, hint.
But go well, brother. You say you got the Boks by 10. It's going to be Boks by 10 times 5, I'm sure. And
I agree.
Family, love to taste her. And Imad, welcome back, Sinead. Thanks for what you've done, brother.
Welcome home.
We will talk again on Monday when we say apologies to Wales, but at least they got to see the best team in the world, the best team on the planet, play at the Principality Stadium.